A different kind of federal crackdown just took place in Minnesota, this one targeting alleged food stamp fraud. Ian Russell joins us with more on Operation Cold Snap.
Yeah, well, Julie, SNAP benefits, also known as food stamps, are meant for people who need financial assistance to buy food and groceries. But instead, stores and people who are defrauding the system are trading those cards for cash.
We have seen a pattern of fraud in Minnesota.
New details tonight in a federal operation investigating stealing from SNAP.
Yesterday's actions were in the greater Twin Cities area.
Federal officials say more than 20 Twin Cities retailers were investigated. What we don't know is where or what businesses. What we do know is how the feds say this fraud, called SNAP trafficking, was allegedly done.
The businesses would be the ones that would exchange the benefits for cash. They exchange it for cash and other items such as guns, drugs, and other ineligible items.
Special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations, Stephen Schrank, says the money exchange for the cards is pennies on the dollar, but altogether,
The estimate is that there's about 2.1 million in suspected fraud.
USDA Inspector General John Walk says 2 businesses were identified as having criminal acts of trafficking, and search warrants were conducted for criminal prosecution. 20 others were issued administrative charging letters outlining issues. If proven, they could be removed from the program or face other penalties.
These businesses were identified through fraudulent activity and patterns of activity that raised red flags. Yesterday is a key point where we are taking businesses offline that were taking advantage of the system and allegedly committing fraud.
Smaller in number than other fraud cases we've seen, but when officials say they'll go after all the same.
There's no fraud too small because we want to make sure that we send a strong message to the community that we are putting an end to fraud.
While we don't know what specific retailers these were, officials say that's still part of their investigation. We do know that it was at places that accept EBT cards. So think grocery stores, gas stations, convenience stores, places that are actually authorized to accept those cards. Schrank says he expects there to be more investigations and activity to be uncovered going forward, Julie. But they did tell us they actually looked at some of these places and found they were clean. They weren't involved in some of these things. And obviously they found some of these that were involved in some of this defrauding the system, or allegedly were.
Yeah, and I think most people would agree any amount of fraud is too much fraud because you want the money to go where it's intended. So,
Yes.
all right. Thank you, Ian.